So Ubisoft, they had the financial results, and what it came down to was their games are doing very well. Their online services, for example, Rainbow Six, The Crew, and The Division, obviously, have like a ton of engagement. So the games, are still alive after a year that they released. Even The Crew launched 2 years ago. So, and they're seeing a lot of microtransactions, of course, from that. So they see a lot of money coming in. I mean, normally the first 2 days or something like that is like huge for a new game. A lot of people are going to buy, the pre-orders come in, stuff like that. And then, it kind of tickles off. But with a service, an online game, it continues. There will be new content like, monthly or even weekly maybe. People will come back in, maybe buy some loot boxes or whatever you offer, and then they will go out. So it's like, you keep the game alive, and you get more money from the people, while otherwise they would be like, okay, here's my $60 and I never look back. So Ubisoft is seeing that this is really helping them. Obviously the Division is still like their biggest selling IP launch ever, and it was up to, I think, FIFA 17, the biggest selling game of the year. So that's like super huge. And they're now looking at their ahead and think, okay, maybe we can make online services out of all our games, and maybe they're going to kill the single player games in the process. Because if we look at Watch Dogs 2, the first one was just a single player game. Now the second one has it has a sort of GTA Online approach as well. It's not as huge as GTA Online, but it has a co-op mode where you can co-op together. You can even PvP. You can, for example, place a lure or something like that and have another player come in, and then you're gonna fight, or you have like this wanted level. If, for example, you destroy a lot of things in the open world, then other people can come into your world and start hunting you, stuff like that. And they have some new co-op. They already announced their season pass, and there are a lot of co-op missions in there as well, with a harder difficulty for all the co-op missions, stuff like that. So they really want to support this Watch Dogs 2 game, which started out as a single player game, but they're now moving to a more online focused game with that. And I think that we might see this as well with Assassin's Creed. I mean, that game is obviously probably going to launch in fall 2017. I mean, they took a year off, but they will be back next year, bigger and better. That's what they said. And I think bigger and better also might mean a more online focused game. Of course, they already did their multiplayer, their competitive stuff with Brotherhood. Didn't really go that well. I mean, they like cut it out in the like other iterations. And then they also had with Unity the co-op mode. So they kind of experimented with that. Unity, of course, it was probably like a good step to go in the co-op direction, but there were like so many other problems with that game that it didn't really take off. So they might want to do that again. Look at Assassin's Creed. They also mentioned maybe Far Cry, that they're going. I mean, Far Cry 4 had the co-op thing going on, while Far Cry 3 purely a single player game. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think that if we look at the upcoming Ubisoft games, we of course also have Ghost Recon, 4-player co-op game, open world, For Honor. Also a co-op, you can play it co-op. It's more competitive game, of course. That's also a service that they will continue, hopefully make out or make into an esport. So they're really looking at Steep, for example. That's another social game. They're like really moving into the console light MMO genre with a bunch of their IPs that were previously known for the single player action. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Do you think that, for example, the new Assassin's Creed will be this MMO type of game, or will be this co-op focused game?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I hope it is, just because I think, like I discussed in the previous segment, I think more developers need to experiment and do things differently. And so when it comes down to it, if the new Assassin's Creed is more of like an MMO light, as he put it, and it has a lot of multiplayer features that allow you to go out and do a lot of the same things that you normally would out in the world of Assassin's Creed, wherever that may be in this particular one, I think that would be very interesting, and a lot of people would like that. However, they kind of tried that with Unity. And how did that work out? Now, that said, Unity was a brand new engine. It was a very work in progress-y type thing, and it was an evolution that we could sort of point back to when we look at Syndicate in terms of sort of the engine and sort of what came about and what they learned from that and how they sort of executed upon the new game. Now, of course, there's different developers that work on each of them because they cycle through. But it really comes down to the fact that Assassin's Creed needs something new to really light that spark again. And this could be that spark. It could also be the negative thing that a spark can cause. It can completely blow up in their face. And that's one of the things that they need to watch out for. And that's one of the things that I think that they're probably recognizing, especially if you look at the populations of The Division, where that game did really well initially, and then it dropped off substantially. So
and they're now trying to fix it, like with
survival.
With their test mode. They have like this test realm going on right now. They had this huge patch, but still, right now they wanna. I mean, they hurt this game so bad to release then a new one like a year after. A lot of people will be like, I will just wait. I'm burnt. I don't want to get into this game again. While if they fix it and then be like, here we have the 2, then people will be like, okay, maybe I will give it another shot. So,
and the problem with the Division 2 is when I played that game in the beta, I felt like I played the entire game. I played the beta a lot. I'll be honest, but I felt like there wasn't anything that they could add that would have made the experience different enough for me to actually want to purchase it. And so with Assassin's Creed, I think that they can sort of add that extra thing where we're seeing them do more unique things and promote more unique things in terms of like, what's that one snowboarding or skiing game out there?
Steep.
Yeah, so we see that with Steep, that they're doing something different there, even though I think that's a disastrous idea. I don't think that game's gonna do well at all. It might be a good game, but I just don't see a market for it. It's kind of one of those random things. It's kind of like if they made a Dance Dance Revolution online or whatever, or Just Dance in their case. But when it really comes down to it, Assassin's Creed is a type of game that could be really well suited for a more MMO type experience, because you get to pick your location for one. So, for example, I hope that they go to Egypt. But at the same token, they could be like, well, we're just going to go to a bunch of different regions instead of being focused on one. And that could create a whole nother dynamic where people are like, wow, instead of buying one Assassin's Creed game and getting one particular experience, now I can buy one Assassin's Creed game.
Whoa, that's a very good idea.
Friends and go to different regions as I level up my character or as I unlock more parts of the story, and so on and so forth. Kind of like how Destiny does their planet hopping, you can then do, different time hopping and different region hopping with Assassin's Creed. So there's a lot of potential there. It's definitely one of those things that I hope that they do.
That would be awesome.
I have a feeling that with this one they won't, but I have a feeling that they have other stuff that are sort of in the cooker that's sort of cooking, and they're trying to figure out how they want to execute it. Maybe it's already being really, really developed on. But what I found interesting, though, and really odd, is that the crew is still doing well. Because I bought that game when it was on sale, and me and my friend tried to play through the campaign. We enjoyed the driving, we enjoyed everything about it, except for some reason Uplay servers constantly, at the end of a race, would kick one of us out, and we would have to redo the entire race over again because one of us wanted to get progress. We wanted to stay with each other in the storyline. And that happened numerous times, and it was getting to the point where we just wanted to get done with the storyline, so we just did the final race just on our own because it just kept crashing. And that's the issue that I have with Uplay, is if they don't get that crap fixed, they don't get their servers fixed. From what I heard of Siege, somewhat is the case that it's fixed. We'll see with For Honor, we'll see with Steep if those servers can hold up. But with Division, with also Rainbow Six at launch, with the crew, they have had a very bad track record with online.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to go back to your Assassin's Creed point, I think that's super interesting, and that may eliminate their yearly release thing. If they just release one Assassin's Creed and update, like maybe have some expansions for different regions or something like that, or
exactly, yeah.
then that would really make sense, and maybe yeah, be like more profitable for them in the end than to have like a new Assassin's Creed game every year. Um, because that's one of the annual game franchises that didn't make it, that really dropped off, and Ubisoft was like, okay, people really don't want this every year, so we just hold it back, make sure it's great. And I think that that's a super interesting and awesome. I mean, if they would just release a new one, do it in Egypt, have a weird Templar story, and have you go into the anonymous or whatever that thing is called that you just lie under and then go into these different worlds, then I would not be interested. But to have like them really shake it up and go to different space times and different regions, and that would really get me interested in this game, while I would normally write an Assassin's Creed game off. So hopefully they will do that. And I don't really need this huge MMO type of game. I don't really need hundreds of players running around. I would be fine with have a hub area or something like that, and co-op with your friends. So if you go to the region, everyone that's in your party, those are the guys you will only see, and like do stuff like that.
People, I think max per area would be fine. I mean, that way when you meet up with an actual player, maybe it's more special if the map is large. And that
like
that
a
could also
Destiny
play,
type of game.
Yeah, and that could play also into a more PvP experience too. I'm not sure how they would do it with the combat system of Assassin's Creed, but
yeah, they already did it though, but it didn't really make sense.
Exactly, that's my point. And so it could be one of those things where, oh well, you do a PvP type mode or whatever, but in an open world region, and just sort of make a story behind the fact that the Templars or whatever are manipulating the Animus, and they're trying to make it so everyone could attack each other, and it would be a weird sort of workaround, but they could
figure it out. Yeah.
Exactly. Assassin's Creed is not really known for its very coherent storyline, put it that way. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that they can go about it, and I think that they, with their IPs and sort of what they're sort of thinking of right now, that they could possibly make a very great online or micro MMO, so to speak. And we'll definitely have to keep our eye on them in the future. I think Steep's probably the worst thing that they could do right now. I think that they need as much as I admire them doing something different, it's one of those things where it's like, guys, really, like, that was your big online game announcement? So hopefully they have something else for us at next year's E3, and hopefully we hear more about Assassin's Creed and it's more online, and it is
it's like a given right now. I mean, if they say we are moving into a more service type of games, then Assassin's Creed, their biggest franchise, or up there, is really going to be in this sort of genre. I mean, what they saw with The Division, if they can put it on a franchise that a lot of people already know, the movie has also come and gone by then, so a lot of people probably, if the movie is really good, are like more interested in Assassin's Creed right now. If they put this like MMO type of Destiny type of The Division type of sticker on it, make it so that it's like huge and you can really like develop your assassin, it makes a lot of sense. It could totally happen, and I totally think that they're moving this way, so it will be interesting to follow them in 2017.